welcome to Podcast First Play, episode 253. I'm one of your hosts, Callan, as always. I'm joined by a man who saw the new Star Trek themed bras in M&S are selling really well, but it appears nobody wants to buy underwear named Shatner Pants. Teddy Bloody Dan.
Hello.
Hello. How are you?
I'm alright. How are you?
I'm alright, mate. I am alright. It's Wednesday, episode 253, and I've got some news for you, but I'm pretty sure you've probably already seen it.
And not through choice. Someone told me at work about it, I'm afraid. But I'm assuming that this is the 25th anniversary of Rockstar Limited? I don't know what they're called, actually. Is it just Rockstar Games?
No, it's not, Dan. That's not what I had. So it might.
Is it not?
Nah, it is really.
Oh, right. I was going to say, what the fuck else would be more important than that?
I was literally just going to bring GameSpot up and just see if there's something else. But no, it is Rockstar Games 25th anniversary.
Next month. Yep.
They put up a little message from Sam Houser. I'm assuming he's like the CEO or director or something. It doesn't specifically say. But it says, thanks to incredible support of our players worldwide, we've had the opportunity to create games and we are truly passionate about. Without you, none of this would be possible, and we are grateful to all of you for sharing this journey with us. In 1998, Rockstar Games was founded on the idea that video games could be essential to culture as any form of entertainment, and we hope we've created games you love in our efforts to be part of that evolution. We're very excited to let you know that in early December, we will release the first trailer for the next Grand Theft Auto. We look forward to many more years of sharing these experiences with you. Thank you, Sam Houser.
Well, thanks, Sam.
So, early December could be like anything up to the 20th, I guess.
I'd say even before then. Sort of like your 14th, 15th is mid-December, isn't it? So, I guess if they're going to do a trailer, we're still no closer to an actual release date, are we?
I still think it's going to be a few years, like 25, I reckon, 2025.
No, I'd say that because it was a 6-year development cycle, I think, for GTA 5. So even if they gave themselves a couple of years off to sort of like perfect GTA Online, then obviously they've done Red Dead 2 as well. Even with both of those, they'd still be at about that same sort of development cycle now anyway. So I'd say it's probably going to be next year, maybe even this time next year, as to when it's probably going to be out, to be fair. I think this trailer is just very late in the day.
I don't even think it's going to be a proper trailer. I reckon it's going to be it'll show us where it's going to be. So obviously a lot of rumours are saying it's going to be in Vice City, which I'm all for, because I fucking love Vice City.
Why not? Yeah.
I reckon we'll see a little bit of the city. Maybe what it's called. It might not be called GTA 6. It might be called GTA something. And then...
They wouldn't break from number tradition now. What would be the point?
Don't know. Mix it up a bit.
Yeah, they're more sort of like, no, let's just make sure that people know exactly what it is that they're getting. Because if they go... Because, they had GTA Vice City, so you couldn't call it GTA Vice City. And then they went 4, and then they went 5. So... it wouldn't be GTA Return to Vice City, because that could be people thinking, oh, is it just they've just done the remake of that trilogy? Is this just a remake of the Vice City one?
Well, no, because Vice City could be set in Vice City, but it doesn't mean it'll be that time period. So and because it says the next Grand Theft Auto and not Grand Theft Auto 6, makes me think it's not going to be a number. It's going to be a title.
It seems unlikely for me.
It might not be, obviously, but if you remember rightly, though, for GTA 5, we had a similar thing where there was like a tweet or something, and it was just like I remember it being at 6 p.m. because I watched it where I used to work on my break, and it was a bless you.
That sneeze fucking got me eventually. Took about 20 minutes to come out, but there we go.
Hit, man. But yeah, well, we were told we were getting a trailer for the new Grand Theft Auto game, and it was like a 30-second thing, and we didn't get an actual trailer for till the following year.
Yeah, but again, I think it's too long. If it had been 4 or 5 years, then yeah, it'd be like, oh, this is just a because they officially announced that they were working on it last year. It was like start of last year, which means that there's an additional.
Year, wasn't it?
No, it was like February 22, mate, when they said definitively, like, yeah, we're definitely working on this.
I'm sure it's this year because it was actually in the FTC court battle with Microsoft, and it was Microsoft or Sony, I think it was, that said it.
No, I saw something earlier today that said it was February 22. Either way, though, that's still like another year on top of that they've got to tweak things. And apparently I haven't seen this, and I certainly don't want to look at it, but apparently there's been there was a hack and there was leaked content taken from GTA 6, like there was some super early build of it. So it would say to me that we're probably further along the development cycle than you'd probably think. So I'd say next year is probably a good bet. If it's the year afterwards, then so be it. Like it's probably going to be worth the wait. But
downside is it's Rockstar, so they could do it in 3 years, 4 years time. People will still buy it.
Annoyingly so, yes, because they can still milk GTA 5 online for the moment. So they're in no rush. But we're probably going to get another Red Dead after GTA 6 anyway.
Aren't they doing a remake of the first one?
Maybe, but given the fact that they've just done that remake of the GTA trilogy that didn't exactly go over well, it would have to be a ground-up one. So you'd have to remake the whole thing in in Red Dead 2's engine. Even that would look incredible.
Fine.
And I mean, you've already got the John Marsden character model, so all you got to do is just tweak some of the buildings, add some of the missions in, and bang, there you go.
Well, it's in the. I'm sure the original map is already in Red Dead 2.
I never played Red Dead 1, so I don't know. If they were going to remake anything, I would have thought Revolver would have made more sense, or like a Revolver Red Dead 1 combo.
Yeah, like mash them together. Revolver was really good. Like, I wouldn't play it now in any fucking sense of the term, but it's such a far departure from Revolver to Red Dead to the second one, which technically the third one, but it's not much.
I'm sure I've asked you this before, but is Red Dead Redemption a continuation of Red Dead Revolver? Yeah,
not necessarily like, I can't remember the actual time frame, but the end of Revolver is a year before the start of. It's not like that, but it's the same world and everything else.
Sure.
I think the only thing they wouldn't be able to get away with is the similarity to Clint Eastwood on the cover. They probably wouldn't be able to do that again.
No, they do like a John Marsden prequel, I guess, because then it's not like Red Dead Redemption or Red Dead Revolver, it's the John Marsden saga.
If I remember rightly, I'm sure the cowboy's name is Red in Revolver.
That makes sense.
I could be way off there, but that's in my head for some reason. But there's no reason you couldn't tell that same story with, if it's not Marsden, just pick someone out of that fucking universe and use them and just do the exact same story as Revolver, but in court.
Well, because what they've done with Red Dead 2 is it's at the turn of the century, so it's like, you're kind of moving away from the Wild West, and it's a bit more, like when you go to Saint Denis and it's like it's a proper city, and there's police officers. Then it's not sort of like street justice or whatever. You couldn't really have. I mean, spoilers, I guess, for Red Dead 2, but Arthur does die at the end of. I know, but he does die at the end of Red Dead 2. So you couldn't really continue on his story, and depending on your actions, like you couldn't do Dutch because he gets killed. You couldn't do any of the other gang really. The only one that I'd like to probably see would be. What's her name? Sadler. I was going to say Ellie Sadler, but that's Laura Dern from Jurassic Park.
I know you mean, but I can't think of it.
Sadie. I'm thinking, is it Sadie?
Maybe. Maybe Sadie.
But either way, like she got like, you spend so little time with her, but she had the best arc. Like, she was. Her husband was just killed by bandits, and she was taken in by a gang, and then became like a proper fucking hardened, like Carol from The Walking Dead. Really, I mean, like she was just sort of meek, and and then she was
a ninja
turned into a in essence, yeah. like just became a proper cold, stony motherfucker. So like playing as her, like starting her own gang or like something like that. I'd like to see that as a continuation of the Red Dead 2 story.
I was all for it until you compared it to Karen from The Walking Dead, who's one of the characters I hated the most.
No, she's my absolute favourite, Carol is.
But she managed.
She took a child specifically, like, you're a threat to this whole group. I'm just going to take you outside and execute you. That's a baller move. I love that.
Which is fine as an action, but she went from just getting beaten up by I say just getting beaten up, but being
like that's the easiest thing in the world.
No,
Jesus.
but I mean like being abused and stuff, to just learning how to fire a gun, like with Daryl showing how to shoot and stuff, to just being able to just infiltrate and take down entire camps and stuff on her own. Fuck off.
I think it's like she just passed a point of not caring and just being like, I should be dead at this point.
Yeah, but that doesn't make you skilled. That makes you.
It just means that you can plan, and also that she's not taking on an army base like full of trained military dudes. She's taking on people that have, they were lawyers and doctors and sandwich sellers and stuff like that before.
Who managed to basically beat Rick and Daryl and fucking Glenn and all these people who are better. I'm not talking about The Walking Dead.
But that kind of like that story arc is more interesting than just it's just another outlaw.
Plus, it would be the first female-led, not
also true.
Not even just Red Dead game, but Rockstar game.
You might be right.
Yeah. Maybe when they were like DMA, like back in the day, doing like Blast Corps and stuff. Maybe one of them was a. Female
Was not like GTA 2? Was that not a? I remember there was a woman that was heavily featured on like the art and stuff like that, but I don't know if that was just a character from the game rather than.
So the only ones I can think of off the top of my head would be Chinatown Wars. It was female and Abby didn't play as her. And obviously you got the one that looked a bit like Lindsay Lohan in 5. She was on a lot of the cover, the one like the lifeguardy one holding.
That's just some fucking random.
But this is what I mean. Like, just with you saying heavily on the promotion and stuff, but yeah, there's no the Ballad of Gay Tony. You don't play as a woman. Lost and the Damned. Don't play as a woman. 1, 2, 3, Vice City, 4, 5.
I suppose it's presumably because typically, if you're looking at gangsters and criminals, they're primarily men, so it's probably going to be a bloke that's doing it. But
I reckon there's a good chance that if they continue the multiple character thing for 6, there'll be a woman in that.
I'd hope so. Again, it would just be because there's like but again though, because we've already seen her turn, sort of. And again, don't forget the timeline of like Red Dead 2 is like months or something like that for. So she's had plenty of time to practice with gangsters and then like held up stores and stagecoach robberies and that kind of stuff, and she's killed people, so she knows what the score is now. Yeah. So for her to sort of like stretch out on her own and kind of like, I'm gonna, I don't know, again, like her starting her own gang of like female, these sort of, again, kind of like helping out people that have been abused by husbands or by, their sex workers that have been, I imagine the treatment throughout fucking years. It's still not good now, but back in the day when you could just go to
worse than it is now.
I mean, you probably just never get seen again. Kind of like creating her own gang of like these absolute, like, like in fucking Mad Max, like the Lost Mothers or whatever they were called.
Yeah.
Like all just like these old women who have just absolute fucking crack shots and just, they were just so world weary, and they were just sort of like, you're a bloke, we probably can't trust you because we've had 50 years of not being able to trust you because you're all fucking lunatics. So like gathering up a gang of her own with people like that who are kind of like sick of it, that seems more interesting to me than just it's just another outlaw, it's the quickest gun in the blah blah blah. It's just like, no, let's just just give me someone with some actual character that's built in there other than just another guy burly can shoot good.
I'm not like massively good. It's the easiest way I could put it. History. were there many? I know cowboys in general they didn't actually exist in the way that the entertainment industry has led us to believe. Like, a actual cowboy was just a farmer.
Yeah.
But was there a female John Marston in like real history?
I'm sure there has been. Yeah, there's female like warriors and warlords, and you Joan of Arc kind of like leading armies and nations or whatever. But yeah, in terms of like obviously it's not as prevalent, which is why it's probably more wider known when there's like a female serial killer, because there's so few comparatively.
There should be more female serial killers.
I'd say, yeah, if you're a woman and you're fucking sick of it, I'd say go on a rampage. But do you know what I mean? Like, look at America with the amount of fucking shootings that happen every single fucking day there. Like, it's mainly white men. It's not really females of any kind, kind of picking up arms and then going and shooting up a store or whatever.
That's the same for most things. Like, even not, like, illegal and violent things, there's not as many female police officers or firefighters or lawyers or like it's a predominantly male dominated world. But when you think of cowboys or like outlaws, it is that ridiculous notion of your women are they're in the saloon and they're bringing you drinks, or they're on stage doing the dance, or they get kidnapped and you got to go and save them, or they get raped or whatever, and you don't automatically think female outlaw. But like
think though,
they would have existed.
Oh, 100%. It's just again they wouldn't have been as widely known. But just think of the advantage that as a female outlaw that would give you. Because if you walk into a bank, sorry, right in the middle of a point then, I've already forgotten what I was going to say, but I just had a notification from Outlook pop up and it said, Star Trek The Cruise already caught my eye. A Q&A with McNeil, Picardo and Wang. And I was like, it's, oh God, what's his name? It's Harry Kim from Voyager. Wow. Sorry, mate. I can't remember your name. Either way, it's just like Star Trek Cruise with Wang. What? Like it just really took me off guard. Sorry about that. And I have completely forgotten what I was saying. So what was I saying?
About the advantages of a female outlaw walking into a bank.
So if you walked into a bank, like again, you if you're sort of like working at a bank and you see, like think like your Hateful Eight, your Tarantino kind of thing, that was still a female gang member.
Yeah.
But if if it was Channing Tatum and all of his mates that walked into a bank at the same time, you'd be like, oh, shit, who are these guys? But if 4 or 5 women just walked in at the same time, automatically, because again, it's you just would assume that they'd be a threat or that they are there to cause a problem. So everyone would be off their guard.
Yeah.
And then you could just be like, boom, hands up, motherfuckers. Like, I think you'd probably have some level of advantage in it because people just wouldn't expect you to be there as a criminal.
Yeah.
So imagine that, like you're doing bank robberies and stuff like that, where you could just, flirt your way into the back room because, all men are idiots and think with a dick. So you could just go in there and you could just kill everyone and no one would suspect you because you're like, what's that? There's something in the film where it's like it's some woman. Like she's killed a bunch of people or something like that, and like when the police bust in, like she's just on the floor just screaming.
Kathleen Turner, she killed Star Wars.
That's Kathleen Kennedy, you idiot.
Oh yeah, who's Kathleen Turner? She was in Friends.
And inadvertently, maybe she killed Star Wars. I don't know.
Yeah,
but,
maybe. But yeah, Kennedy. But no, I can't think of the film, but. I think
she's like covered in blood and she's screaming and there's like all the police just sort of walk past her because they're like, oh, she's a victim, and then she just leaves immediately. Which again, I can't remember what it is, but
which obviously, I mean, it is massively obviously sexist to just assume that because it's a woman, it's not a threat, and in to put it in a probably juvenile way, really, like that could make for some genuinely interesting gameplay mechanics. And like thinking like the Hitman thing, we talked about it about something else the other week, but with a Hitman mechanic where you put a disguise on, but if you stand too close to someone, they'll go, "Hey, you don't fucking work here." But
what's that barcode on your neck?
Yeah. But like obviously you keep your distance and just don't draw attention to yourself. You're fine. And you could do it in a similar way where, like you say, it gives you the option. You can fucking put blood all over your face and put some on your shirt and stuff. Writhe around a bit, but if you do it too much, they'll come and check you. But if it's just enough where they notice you, but they go to where the main problem is, that gives you enough time then to get up and get out. Stuff like that would be like genuinely, like, just a good gameplay mechanic to put in. However,
I think so. Yeah.
I don't think they'll, not necessarily that, but I don't think they'll do it. I think we'll just get another John Marston-esque.
I mean, it's not to say that there's anything wrong with the character of John Marston or the character of Arthur Morgan, because they were compelling characters in their own right. But it would just be nice to see something slightly different for a change, rather than just it's another
because we won't
white
get
cowboy.
it in GTA. We will get a I say if they keep with the same mechanic of 5 where you can switch between characters, there will be a guarantee there will be a female playable character.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that it's either it's part of the rumor mill or it's something that's already been confirmed that there's it's a duo. I think. Yeah, it's like a dude and
like
a
Bonnie and Clyde or something kind of thing.
Something like that. Yeah.
But it's obviously that's still going, but you still got a main guy who you will play.
Well, it's to shuttle the fucking incels up who are like, woman.
Yeah, which don't get me wrong. Like, there's certain games where, like, I wouldn't like to play if there was a new Tomb Raider game, but now you play as Larry and
Larry Croft.
Yeah, it's just like
their idiot brother.
There's no reason to change it. And in GTA, if the story is predominantly about a guy, then it's just predominantly about a guy. That's all it is. But I don't see a problem in having that extra character in it that you can play as. And like we say, I'm not even going to count all the GTAs because again you've got spin-offs like Chinatown Wars and everything else. But again, no female characters. Just give us a fucking female character to play as, because it won't even be that you still won't get a choice. Because when you get to certain story beats, you're going to have to play as this person or this person. So it's just the game. But people will complain. I guarantee they will.
Yeah, of course they will. But I just think it would just give developers and writers an opportunity to kind of like show someone just the inherent struggles that someone would have just because. So like, so if you switch to your female character and you're just generally accosted on the street, people are just more aggressive towards you because you're like, oh, fuck off, you're just a woman. Like, just having to just deal with that more than just, you can't just sort of walk down the street and people are like, oh my God, a big scary guy. They're like, woman. Bleh. Yeah. You go up and you go and stick up a store and they're like, what are you going to do? Shoot me. Like, it could really change your outlook if you were forced to play as someone who isn't respected or who isn't intimidating, who isn't the cool white guy, like in Mafia 3, there's a really good mechanic that's within that. The police response times. Like, if you cause a crime in a black neighborhood, the police will respond to you much more slowly because you're in a black neighborhood. Whereas if you're in like high-end white neighborhood, they're on you like that. And I just think that is a really interesting kind of, because, again, your protagonist is a black guy in the 60s, 70s, I want to say.
I think it's late 60s, I believe, because he was coming out of one of the wars.
It was Vietnam, I think, wasn't it? So, yeah, it would have been the 60s, 70s. But, again, you're automatically on the back foot. Yeah. You go into a shop and it's like, what the fuck are you doing in here? Not because, oh my God, it's a big scary gangster. It's like, you're black, get out. Yeah. Like, there's just signs everywhere, whites only, no colours, all that kind of stuff. And
I find it's really, upsetting is the wrong word, but it was, some scenes of Mafia 3 were really awkward to play. And I know that was the whole point of it.
Yeah.
It was like, after you've been playing it for a little bit, because I do get quite engrossed in games, and I really enjoyed Mafia 3, but it wasn't great. It was it excelled in certain things, but just like poor controls and stuff that just let it down and stopped it being a really good game. But once you've been playing it for a bit, and then you get these people like saying these things that you shouldn't say, but it was just like such a flippant, off the cuff thing back in the day, and it makes you feel it.
Exactly, and that I really appreciate, and I think that was one of the defenses that they had in GTA 5 as well. When you're doing a mission as Trevor and you have to torture somebody, like you have to rip their teeth out, and you have to electrocute them, and people are like, "Why isn't this something that's skippable?" And they were like, "Well, this happens. Yeah. Like you need to know that this happens and how awful it is, and if you feel terrible doing it, good. You should do." But that's what I mean. Like, if you're walking around and you're just trying to, go to the shop to upgrade your outfit, something you do in GTA all the time. You unlock extra items in the shop and you want to go and see if you can pick out a sweet new outfit. But you go in there and you go to the changing rooms to, choose your new outfit, and some guy's just on you and just like, "Hey, what are you doing?" Oh, you just like, "Can you just fuck off, please?" Because it's like, "Oh, well, that's really annoying." Yeah, it is, but that's literally what women have to go through all the time. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's ways of writing it that would make but that's the thing. If it, in my eyes, it would help succeed if someone who wouldn't think that was necessarily a problem, were faced with dealing with that themselves and going, "Oh, that's really, actually, maybe this isn't, or maybe I shouldn't do that." Like, that actually makes me feel awful.
To be fair, like,
good.
Rockstar had got in trouble for like all the fucking time crunch stuff that they put all their employees through. So, in terms of thinking about people's feelings, I don't think we'll get any of that.
Well, they've got plenty of time to sort it now, mate, because they've already had 10 years to crack on with this. So let's see.
It could make for something like genuinely very, not just interesting and eye-opening, but like memorable. And it would be nice to think of a GTA game, not for murder sprees that people have done in real life because they've played a game and all that stuff that it gets associated with.
It's a tenuous link, but yeah, it happens.
But like, it would be genuinely nice for the gaming world and community and whatnot that we have a game like GTA where it is remembered in many years' time for a game that became just kind of like that light switch moment for some people. And I don't think it'll happen, I'll be honest, but it would be genuinely good if it did.
It would be nice.
What I was going to ask you is, if it's not Vice City, where do you think it will be?
Space.
GTA Space.
Yeah. Space or Tron. That'd be great.
I mean, we've kind of had Tron in GTA Online.
That's true, actually, yeah.
I imagine we've had Space as well, to be honest. But
yeah, I mean, usually you kind of easiest get out of jail free card when you've done LA, you've done New York, you've done Chicago and Washington and blah blah blah. You kind of hit those like classic American big cities. Usually, then you go, right, let's do London.
Done it.
Let's do. I mean, they did that with fucking Watch Dogs, didn't they?
With GTA.
Well, yeah, but it's a British company, so of course they're going to go, it's 60s mods in London or whatever, but
GTA London.
People, like, there's going to be people now, if they said, "Oh, we're going to go back to our roots and we're going to go back to London," people will be like, "You haven't done a GTA in London." Because they're going to go from 3 or Vice City or 4 even, maybe.
Probably go from 4, to be honest.
Exactly, and just be like, "No, that was in, like, it was in New York and then it was in LA, and then what you on about?" Like, Miami is your Vice City, and Scarface, 60s, like 60s, 70s, cocaine, whatever.
It was 80s, wasn't it, Vice City?
Sorry, yeah, you're right. It was the 80s, yeah, because it was all like Lambos and yeah. But I mean, like, taking it to London would be. The only thing I'll say is it's nice to see London show up as a main setting for a game. I think you played the Assassin's Creed in London. You quite like that.
It's fine, yeah, pretty good. There's a woman. You play as a woman in that.
Oh, there you go. So Ubisoft are doing something right. Bloody hell. I mean, they also put a disclaimer at the start of every game saying everyone of every race and ethnicity and religious background or whatever, everyone's worked on this. Everyone's had a pitch in, so no one can whinge about it. But playing Watch Dogs Legion, where you're in London, it was great because it felt like you're in London. But that is a pain in the arse because every little tiny side street, every little alleyway that you've got to cut down, there's a bus in the way. Well, tough. You've got to get on a drone and fly past it instead. Like, our cities are not cool, sprawling metropolises. They're built from villages 600 years ago, and then they've gotten bigger and bigger and bigger and smaller and more compact and cramped and taller. But they're very much like, you go down a street in London that's been there for 400 years. Like, because it's just, they haven't changed it because now legally they can't or whatever. So that would be fine, but I don't think you could work. You couldn't have, like, you fire a rocket in a street in London, you blow half the street and yourself up. Yeah, it just wouldn't happen.
We're not designed for GTA, and it works in stuff like Watch Dogs because of the gadgets and stuff. So, like, I remember in the first Watch Dogs with the bollards that you could pull up and like get people to crash into and stuff, and that's all fine and stuff. I don't think that was in London, was it? The first one?
No, that was in. I think it was in Chicago.
Yeah,
I want to say
I'm sure it's definitely America, but like,
100%. Yeah.
Even the first Watch Dogs felt cramped, and that wasn't even in England.
But that was still with huge roads, though. Like, you could still tear around the roads.
Yeah.
Like, you can't do that when there's 15 roundabouts that you've got to go past to get to your next objective.
It's a fucking co-op.
London traffic as well. Fuck me.
It's a co-op on every fucking corner. But it's it just wouldn't work. I would rather see it in, and again, just as fucking cramped. But I'd like take it to Japan, something like that, where you've got that kind of like futuristic vibe, but it's still in modern day.
But think of all the Yakuza games, though. Like that, there's a lot of sort of like,
exactly,
kind of crimey stuff that you do in those sort of things anyway. So it wouldn't be treading new grounds.
No, the best thing
I'd say do GTA Finland, where there's no crime, so you could rule the country within about 25 minutes. You're like, what do you mean you got a tank and a plane that shoots lasers? Well, we can't do anything against that, and we're not going to because we're from Northern Europe and we're really nice and cool, and we actually have a country that has a governmental system that works properly.
They'll just keep it in. Like, it'll just be like GTA Minneapolis or something like that.
But that's the thing. You could do, like, tell you what you could do, GTA Detroit.
Ooh.
Because then you just go, oh, it's crime-ridden and, it's
Gotham.
There's a reason they set RoboCop there.
Yeah. It's just real-life Gotham City.
Kinda, yeah. Like a GTA Gotham is kind of like, but at the end, if everyone's a criminal, then what's the fucking, you're not special if you start a crime empire.
Speaking of, I saw a rumor yesterday that Rocksteady are working on a Daredevil game. And
ooh,
that's just Batman.
Kinda, but it means that it's an easy win for them. They're like, we could just do a brawler where you press a button and just dodge everything. You've got detective vision.
Yeah,
Daredevil done
permanently. I remember an April Fool's ages ago, and it's like,
oh, I remember. Yeah, I remember.
Like a screenshot from the new Daredevil game, but it's just a black screen.
It's just black. Yeah, it's so good.
But it's like, I love Daredevil, but I'd rather they do like Moon Knight or something where there's at least some kind of like the gameplay mechanics could change dependent on the personality that you're playing as, but it would still fundamentally be an Arkham game because they are the same kind of characters. So I'm hoping that's not true.
Well, I'd say that they, like if you look at like Shadow of War and Shadow of Mordor, like that is still very much the Arkham combat system. It's Y is just dodge everything and X is attack. But it's because they had to just go, well, that as a foundation, that's brilliant. There's no reason to change that. Every game that has that kind of combat in it, use the Arkham system because it's fucking brilliant, right? So instead, they go, right, okay, well, we need to add that though. We need to still differentiate. We can't just have, because otherwise, like every Arkham game kind of feels about the same because it works, it's fine. Why bother changing it? But when you've got like a ghost that can help you out. You can do like cool flips in the air. You can like control people. You can mind. Like there's so much more than just it's a cool fighting system.
Yeah.
Like the fighting system is fine because again it's not revolutionary, but everything else in the game is interesting and cool, and like calling in backup, and the nemesis thing, and like orc generals will just show up out of nowhere, or you got to get a kill strike and someone will come in and just stop you. Like all of that stuff is so cool. So you could just go, sure, it's got that's block everything and that's hit everyone, but then it's like, okay, well then the echolocation stuff. Like the gadgets that he's got, like his flips. How many mates can he sort of like call for help or whatever? Like, has his suit got special abilities? Do you know what I mean? Like, you'd have to build it around that just working fine, and then because like there's no like Daredevil cycle or anything, is there? Like, you've got to have a really interesting traversal method.
He has, but like,
is there actually? I'm going to have a look because I've never seen anything that's got like.
And he's got a Echo glider in Fortnite.
Well, that counts as shit, mate.
Every single character has got their own something vehicle. Spider-Man, even Superman, they've all got one.
In several times, he's had to use an automobile. But it's been his super sense that helps him navigate. Yeah, so like it looks like he's driven a car, but he doesn't need to. Also, that sounds like it would be.
I've definitely seen a Daredevil one that's got a big red Daredevil fucking face on it.
Potentially so, but it seems that that's not the best way of him getting around. Yeah. Just in a car that's making noise itself.
It's got one. It's just a red car, but it's got like a really wanky fucking helmet on the front.
Yeah.
It's just a car, but you fundamentally you're going to be skulking around in the shadows. You'll get people. You'll use a equivalent of detective vision, but it'll be sonar. And then you'll do the Arkham combat, and there's your Daredevil.
But that's the thing, though. Like you shouldn't it always be in sonar mode? Like the whole game should just be echolocation stuff.
Like a thing in the options where, so like for example, Spider-Man in Spider-Man 1, Miles Morales, and in 2, when you have the Spider-Verse outfits, there's an options in the settings where you can have like the same like filter effect as the movie, or you can turn it off. And they do the same thing for that. Okay, you can play the whole game in Daredevil light vision, or just when you want to turn it on to look at stuff. Because it would be really annoying to play that through the entirety of the game.
But no, because like if you had your stick, so like whenever you were sort of like you were perched on a building top or whatever, you just had to like you just press left trigger or whatever, and you just tap, and it just goes boom, and just gives you like a a 3 or 4 foot radius.
Yeah. So otherwise, it would just be playing it. Everything's black. And as you get close to stuff, it'll just go. Whoa, 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 whoa.
Yeah, but if you're in a city, though, if you're like New York, everything would be giving off sound.
Yeah,
like it's never going to be dead silent. But then that's when some like a mechanic like that would be interesting, where like he goes in to fight someone who's in like a room that's what's it, an anechoic chamber or something like that, which is like completely without sound. So like someone lures you in there to beat you because they know you're blind and that's how you see or whatever. So like but I think it's like the whole thing would just be like a wireframe game almost. Like everything would be black in like just like plain brick or whatever, but everything is making sound, reverberating, and there's birds and bats and cars and electricity and trains and all that sort of stuff. So it would populate the world, and you would look and you'd be able to see everything. You'd be able to find people, and you could hear things. But it would be visually more interesting than just. I know, but it's that to me. That would be like you've actually put some thought and effort into that.
Like the Ben Affleck movie, where it's just a red filter over.
No, they did like a proper like boom, like it was like echoing off things. They did that from his point of view.
Yeah, I'm sure that was only certain bits though.
It was no, it wasn't like the whole thing. No, it was just there was a few bits where he had to like you saw from his vision. It was like a black with like white sort of like shadows around things.
I remember like when they did it for like there's someone looks around the corner and it's like the white outline of the guy and he got a bit on the wall. But I was certain there was certain scenes where it's basically they just put a red filter over the lens.
I don't remember that. No. Don't look at it now because we're doing a podcast.
No, but what I'm going to bring up is, while we're on the subject, Echo.
Thank you for reminding me. We got the very first trailer for Echo coming out in January, I think.
Yes. He was in that as well. He was in the trailer for that.
Was he?
Daredevil was, yeah.
I'll be honest, mate. I watched it on my phone on an Instagram post because that's when I first saw it, and I was sort of like,
yeah.
I didn't open my phone. This phone opens into a massive screen.
I
didn't do that.
You didn't even watch it on the big screen.
No, I didn't really watch it with sound on either, which probably didn't help matters either. So I probably should go back and watch it again. But from what I saw, it looks good and it looks violent as well.
It's the first. I can't remember the actual rating. It's the equivalent of an R rating, but it's like first MS-18 or something
for mature.
Like that. Rated Disney Plus Marvel show.
Well, wouldn't Werewolf by Night be?
Nope.
Was that not? No.
Nope.
I did. I tell you what, mate. I watched Werewolf by Night again on Sunday.
The colour one?
No, I watched the normal one, but then I did watch certain scenes on the colour one.
Oh
no. It still looks fine. It's just that it's the same thing. It doesn't feel the same, but everything looks great. All the costumes are still glorious. I was mainly looking at it to see like the viscera, like the blood effects and stuff like that. But it's all kind of blurry, and you can't really see much anyway. So it doesn't add anything to it, but it doesn't take away anything either. But seeing,
I was going to go somewhere.
No, because I'd forgotten that in Werewolf by Night, the original, after Jack and Ted, like after Jack's transformed and he's killed everyone, then he fucks off. It cuts to colour, like the next day, and him and Man-Thing are just in the forest, just having a chat. And I was like, I don't remember this just cutting to colour for like the last scene. Because I was just like, I want to see the Man-Thing effects in colour and see what that looks like. It's in that. So I was like,
I genuinely don't remember that.
Honestly, mate, neither did I.
Didn't they just put it in?
If that's what they've done, it's certainly possible. But I don't remember them. I don't remember that scene being in there in black and white either. But it's like the visuals are great. And one thing I didn't realise, and again, you wouldn't notice until you watch the colour one. You know when like you grab someone and he burns them, it's like a blue flame that they've gone for, rather than just sort of like a white, hot, red or orange flame. It's like a
gas hob.
Kinda, yeah. And it looks kind of great.
I might watch it.
I'd say if you're going to watch the colour one, just watch like the fight scene at the end, like where he transforms, and like a couple of the fight scenes where like the hunters having a bit of a go at each other, and the Man-Thing stuff is really good in colour. But I'd say do what I did. Watch the whole thing again through in black and white so you can get a real sense of this is what it's supposed to be, and then go and check it out.
I really enjoyed it.
I'm just so surprised that they haven't done anything else like this, where they've just gone, let's just do an odd one.
I think
let's just do one. Let's do a Ghost Rider one, a Ghost Rider special, where he's after one particular bad guy, and he's just him sort of like just ploughing through a bunch of dudes and then getting on his bike or whatever and doing a bit of Ghost Rider stuff.
They've fluffed a lot of the stuff that they should. So like She-Hulk personally should have been more of the courtroom side. And you could have silly cases for and against ridiculous either heroes or villains and proper Z-listers, and it could have been quite humorous, but they didn't, and they went a completely different route. And the only thing that has... Because even Werewolf by Night looks like overwhelmingly positive. There was a lot of people that didn't like it, and, I mean, they're idiots. But...
where's Ivan?
But, which brings me to what I was going to say. I've seen a rumour, Dan, that Marvel are looking at bringing back the original cast for the next Avengers film. By original, Robert Downey Jr., Chris Hemsworth, Chris Evans, Scarlett Johansson, the original Avengers lineup.
Then what was the point of Endgame?
No idea. Which leads me to believe that whatever happens in Loki,
he's going to reset everything, do you reckon?
Back to the golden days, like, because people are a lot more like, oh, Marvel, think of something new. I bet you didn't see this coming. Bang! Everyone's alive.
Here's all
again.
the originals. Yeah. I suppose it depends on the Marvels as well. Like, if that's really well received and people are just sort of like, oh wow, yeah, make these like, because Captain Marvel, she should be in charge of the whole thing. Like, she's the most powerful, and she's a military leader.
It's in the name.
And she's a captain, and she's
Marvel, but yeah.
Well, yeah.
Originally Shazam, wasn't it?
No. No.
No. Sorry, Shazam was originally Captain Marvel originally.
Yeah. But she should be like, her fucking inclusion in like Infinity War and Endgame was so good. And then it's like they just haven't gone like. I mean, I get it. They just go. You can't just have the most powerful person turn up and solve all your problems every fucking time. Which is the whole, we need to have a solo film without a reason for the Avengers needing to be involved. So we'll do an Ant-Man thing and we'll give him, an incredibly powerful bad guy, but he's in a place that no one could possibly reach him anyway, so no one can call for backup. But like anything that she's doing, she should be the most like. No one can really stand up to her.
With all of them, they've massively nerfed most of the characters realistically in the MCU. But like, I'm not a big fan of Captain Marvel at the best of times anyway. I like Brie Larson a lot, but I don't like her portrayal as Captain Marvel very much. I find her quite.
Yeah.
And I assume it's purposely done, but I find her quite wooden and kind of like soulless. And I assume that is, you got all this fucking power in the world. Like, what's the point in being over enthusiastic about things? But I don't like this. This is one of the main reasons why I'm not a massive Superman fan. They had to make up a reason because Kryptonite wasn't a thing for fucking years and years and years and years and years.
But he also wasn't as powerful as he is seen to be now.
Now he's just like world-endingly powerful.
Yeah.
But it's...
If he flies fast enough and flies out of the atmosphere, he'll take the atmosphere with him.
Yeah.
He's that level of... Yeah.
And, like, that's why I've always preferred, like, Batman to Superman and Spider-Man to Captain Marvel. Oh, I've also completed Spider-Man 2.
Already? Bloody hell.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of, I got RoboCop the other day and it's fucking sick, mate.
It was mainly... I wanted to move on mainly because, like, I just don't want to get into a thing where it's like shitting on Brie Larson because I really like Brie Larson, but I really don't like Captain Marvel.
See, I liked it. I liked it fine, but you could tell that they they filmed that before, because like it was when they did the Endgame stuff, they hadn't made Captain Marvel yet. I think was it the way around? I can't remember. I think it's I don't know, but it just seemed like a different kind of person. But I think that like her in like Infinity War and Endgame was great. Like she seemed like she was like war ready, and like she could have taken out most of that sort of stuff on her. Like she could have just flown to space and flown back down, and she would have been.
She could have wiped them all out.
Exactly, and that's the thing. Like you can't have someone who's that powerful, sort of be that involved. But here's a thought for you. With the Marvels and Captain Marvel being like, she's like one of the reasons that Rogue in the X-Men could fly.
Yeah, well, yes and no, but yes, mostly.
Yeah, like she got like her permanent strength and the ability to fly from draining Captain Marvel, I think.
But then many years later, she gets different powers because of it as well. But again,
okay,
that's
fine.
more of a so like in the animated series, it's all she's got is the strength and the flight. But then, like 2 years ago in the comics, it's just like, oh, yes, she could also do this. And it's just like, well, that's taken like 25 years to manifest.
Well, to be fair, we also don't really need a Captain Marvel to give Rogue powers or do any sort of like transference stuff because we got the fucking Skrull that can do it all now. Anyway, we've got a Super Skrull that's got 1 million powers.
She could be all the X-Men.
Oh, imagine that! Like you can never see one X-Men in the same. Like you can never see more than one X-Men in the same room. It'd be like, Wolverine, you better come in here. And she just sort of runs out and then runs back in as Wolverine.
Could you imagine that though? For like the like when it's like Magneto and the Brotherhood, and you got the X-Men, and they're like running at each other. It's just her running on her own, changing into different ones, and then just running around the back of the camera and doing the same this side.
Do you know what? I would fucking love that. If it was just like, if it was the X-Jet flying through the sky or whatever, off to a mission, and then it was like, with like minimal effort, just like she's Cyclops, you just put a visor on her, and then, you know, the camera pans over and she's Storm, so it's just the same. It's still Emilia Clarke, just with white hair this time, and then it cuts to the back and she's got like the shittest blue makeup on as Nightcrawler. Like, that would be, I'd be like, fucking amazing. Like, you just gone, she's got all the powers and she's just all the X-Men, sure. Like, you can work as an X-person for 50 years now.
They stopped the effort, like, on like the third episode, so she's got one glove on with Wolverine claws, another glove with just say Rogues. No, Rogues, she's just got a bit of silver hair, but she's got one white eye for Storm, she's got one red eye for Cyclops, she's got a bit of a blue beard for Beast, she's got a tail for Nightcrawler, so she's always just all of them.
Yeah.
Like, I'd like it because they could do it like WandaVision, where it feels. I know there's a lot of effort into WandaVision, but when you're watching it, it just feels like it's a little set, and it doesn't seem as big budget as obviously the rest of the stuff. And just do it like that. I'd fucking love it. And
that'd be good.
Whoever the X-Men is that's talking, the camera just zooms in on that one bit. So if it's like Wolverine's hand, it's just like, yeah, we're gonna go after. And if it's Rogue, it just zooms in on that one bit of grey hair. Like,
yeah, if you go in low effort, do it.
I mean, that's what Secret Invasion felt like, to be honest.
Low effort.
Yeah. But I don't know, because that would be the other thing. Like, if you've got Captain Marvel, and then you've got like Rogue and the X-Men coming into it, you've then got to figure out why is it, because at that point in time when Rogue absorbed Captain Marvel's powers, Rogue's a bad guy working with Mystique and that, so she's gonna have to come into it as a bad guy, which I'm not against, but it's And what version of Rogue do you want? Do you want your like southern accent and?
Oh yeah. You're all your darlings and your you know, flancy Southern Belle accents and all that. Yeah, 100%. Big bouffant hair, 100%.
I still think she's one of the best looking female comic characters. I like Rogue, yeah, and Emma Frost, but different reasons.
She's no Psylocke, mate.
I like. Oh, I don't know. To be fair, that was one of the better translations in the Fox movies. They did a good job with Psylocke.
Oh, what, the 35 seconds of time that Psylocke got to do anything?
Visually, I mean, like everyone else, like me with the exception of Kelsey Grammer's Beast, which is tremendous, will never ever be beaten.
Beaston. But all they've done is they've just gone, we'll give her nothing to do. She's like an actual martial artist. We'll just give her the purple, like, psychic blade. And she can just sort of like do a bit of swinging wildly, but they just don't do anything with her.
No, I don't mean she's good in that. I just mean in terms of from the comic panel to the visual look on the screen. I think they did a good job, and then just didn't use her for anything. But
no, but they didn't with Storm either. I mean, but I'm talking about Apocalypse, obviously.
What happens to her?
No, not that Storm. But even then, they still they recast Storm. They go for a new version of Storm, and they still make it boring.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you've watched the animated series lately, but Storm and Professor Xavier are arguably the worst characters in the show by far. It's all fucking like he'll go back to, I can't remember the Shadow. What's the Shadow Realm guy called?
The Astral Plane.
No. He's an actual character. Like the Shadow King or something like that.
Oh, the Shadow King. Yeah.
And there's an episode of that with that, and he traps Storm in a box because he's claustrophobic. And it's just a whole episode of her just like being claustrophobic and whinging and moaning and stuff, and then Rogue's trying to find her and everything else. She's like, "Okay, you out of there, sugar." It's like, it's just a fucking box. Break out of it. And there's a bit with
It's a metaphor, Callum.
No, I know. Like, I'm not claustrophobic, but if I was, I'd hate to be locked in a box. But she's also an incredibly nearly Omega level power mutant, so it shouldn't.
But that's my point. Is that she's far more powerful than she's been portrayed so far.
We need some.
And we
need Mr. Sinister. That's what we need.
But who? I mean, but if you're doing it, I mean, they were looking to do it in like the Logan Deadpool kind of. There was like a tweak of it, but if you're doing it, it needs to be a ridiculous giant guy, white skin, diamond on his head, ridiculous floppy cape thing.
No, because nobody like that exists.
Just get The Rock to do it. He's big enough to do everything, apparently. So just fucking.
Visually, you could have him, but we're gonna have someone dub over him and do all the acting.
I tell you who probably would do it if they hadn't already fucking wasted him in Morbius. Bloody Matt Reeves, is it?
Oh, no, I want one. I know who you mean, but I don't. Matt Smith.
Matt Smith, sorry. Yes, you're right. Yeah.
He looks like
No, he's got the right face for it. Like if you just whited him up and just like.
He's not good.
He could play a creepy dude.
Oh yeah, I mean he is a creepy dude anyway, but he's not big enough in terms of like.
But again, you just put him in a silly suit.
No, not him.
Yeah.
I was going to say someone like Richard E. Grant would make a good one.
Well, no, they've already had him and killed him.
Yeah, no, but I'm just saying people that would be good.
No.
I don't know who I'd want to play him because you don't have to go down that exact route.
I disagree. I think that because of how, because his overall sort of like plans and his machinations are actually pretty decent, like in terms of what he's trying to do. But his look is so stupid and so unique.
They wouldn't do full Sinister.
I think you'd have to do it, otherwise it's just a waste again. Like, we go, why would you get a bad guy that looks like that? It's like if you went, oh, let's get Mysterio, but don't give him the cape and the helmet and all that kind of stuff. Like, well, then why bother? Like, the look is an integral part to how, sort of, because he's Mr. Sinister. He looks ridiculous. He looks like he's about to do a fucking drag act. Like, there's nothing sinister about him. That's what's funny about it.
Well, that's the 90s, though.
But that's why it works. It has to be this sort of ridiculous, floppy, ridiculous monster cape. I
don't like the Fox X-Men outfits, with the exception of Days of Future Past. I do like Wolverine's kind of like combat gear suit that he has.
I think the first ones they get in first class, like the actual flight suit ones, because they're like they're just a baby's hair width away from being like actually comic accurate, which means that when they would have done the second one, they would have had very little to build on to get your normal comic outfits, and then they didn't, which is a waste, obviously. But I think that's why I don't like them all, but I think that's why the first ones work, like the black leather ones. Because of the time period, you had the Matrix and you had fucking Blade and everything else going, but because they comment on it. It's kind of like a free pass. And it's just like, you seriously go out in these? And go, what would you prefer, yellow spandex? And you go, hey, yeah, because that's what they wear. And it's very funny. But then... but that's the thing. I'd say that isn't funny because all you're doing is you're pointing out, it's like, oh, you're not wearing your normal outfits. No, because they're stupid.
Yeah, but...
Yeah, you're right, and that's why you should be wearing them.
But I'm glad they didn't, because if... Don't get me wrong, I'm not a massive Fox Marvel... Universe, whatever they called it, fan. But if we'd have had the yellow and blue outfits in that first film, there wouldn't have been any more.
I don't know. I mean, like off the strength of Jackman and Stewart and McKellen, like their performances were kind of carrying that film in terms like the story itself is perfectly fine. They made a machine. They've made a machine that can just turn people into mutants. Have you? Cool. Okay. How does that work? Magnets and that.
Yeah. And now the president's a fish guy, and
he's a bubble actually, and he's not the president. He was the senator. You dickhead.
I said senator. I literally just said senator.
I thought you said something else.
But like, if you look at Multiverse of Madness, like I fucking love that they put Professor X's chair in it, like the animated
because it's
chair.
so stupid stupid. That's why it works.
But with all of everything that they've learned over the years making the MCU films and the budget that they had and everything else, and it still looked dog shit. Can you imagine what fucking Fox would have done?
No, I'm not saying it was poor quality. I think they made it right, but they made it exactly as presumably to be like, well, we made it exactly like we did in the cartoon or whatever. So there it is. And if you don't like it, well, shut up because you got what you wanted.
I actually think it's because then they go, this isn't Professor X from the Fox universe. Because he didn't have this wheelchair.
Yeah, he just had a normal wheelchair. Or he had a floating wheelchair.
An electric. I mean, he had just a normal one in like the first few. It was only like the later ones that he had the semi-floating one. But in this one, it's just a bright, it's the exact one from the animated show. Which, again, I loved, but I don't think Fox could have pulled anything like that off without the film looking work, because it didn't look great anyway. But I think it was a smart move to not have those comic accurate suits. And again, the time period of the Matrix and everything else, that was the in thing. But that doesn't mean that they should have stayed away from it through the whole franchise. Yeah.
Because if anything, they like when they're actually suited up it's usually like your action scenes. That's usually when, because most of the time they're just in normal clothes.
For a big bulk of all of the cartoons, like the original X-Men cartoon, X-Men Evolution, Wolverine and the X-Men, the comics and everything else. Like you say, it's only when it's battle stations time that they get suited up. And there's a lot of episodes of the show where Wolverine's just in a flannel shirt and jeans.
Exactly. He's like in a little check shirt. Yeah, of course he is.
Scott's got his fucking like Letterman jacket and everything else, and his leather jacket, and I think there's really in the cartoon there's only Jean that's mostly in her weird, very oddly skin-coloured fucking
sort of
outfit.
Thing. Yeah.
But again, there's also an episode, I think it's one of the first ones with Jubilee, and they're in the shopping centre, and a sentinel comes bursting through, and Storm just goes, and she's in her Storm clothes.
She's
out shopping. She's got bags and stuff, and then she does it's basically lightning following her fingers. It goes, by the power of lightning, like fucking He-Man. It's like, boo. And then she's just in Storm gear.
Or maybe that's saying that all of her Storm outfit is made from the weather.
Basically, I guess.
Sure.
And it changed her hair.
Yeah, that sounds more like she was turning off a hologram more than she was making her own outfit.
It wasn't in like the danger room or anything. They were just out shopping. Yeah,
but they've also got access to that level of. You just put it on your belt, so you press a button and go whoop, street clothes. But you're also ready for action at a moment's notice. When a sentinel comes busting in, you can't go shit. Hold on, I need to run back and get my gear. Also, you control the weather, love. You haven't got a gadget belt that you need to do your job properly.
Don't need anything. As long as you got access to the sky, you're okay.
But that's the point though. Like if they have to wear stupid outfits, you put them in stupid outfits. They did the Avengers and the Iron Man armor. It looks amazing. The Captain America thing, they obviously tweaked it slightly, but it was it was a patriotic and like publicity, but it was a military outfit. And then you got Thor, and he had a big floppy cape, and he had a big giant things because that's what he looks like in the comic books.
Well, no, they adapted it still. It doesn't look as ridiculous as it does in the comics.
No, not anymore. It doesn't. But it's still, you see that outfit, and you go, oh, that's Thor's thing. Like it's not just sort of like it's not always him just in like a t-shirt and jeans.
No,
when he's not fighting someone or when he's not ready for action or whatever, then he's just in, jeans, whatever.
For stuff like that, though, I mean, like again, like Marvel spent a long time not doing things like Iron Man. The Iron Man suit looks nothing like the Iron Man suit in the comics for that era. Like now, it does because they've made
quite
it
frankly
like the MCU version of it. But for the most part, Iron Man looked like it was a robot in Invincible. The orange one.
It's just called Robot, isn't it?
I'm sure it's just called Robot. But for a long time, it just looked like that.
No, it looked worse than that. It looked like a fucking Juggernaut outfit. It was just like a helmet.
Not the old one. The ones that came after. Like
with the underpants on.
Yeah. So he's still got like the red and gold suit. But yeah, it looked fucking dog shit. And until it became a big success within the MCU, Iron Man was a proper fucking like D tier fucking character. Fun fact, actually, you know why they went with Iron Man and Captain America and that? Because it's the only ones they still had left.
Yeah, because they'd already sold on Spider-Man and...
I mean, they'd sold fucking everything on, but not just movie stuff as well, but like it was basically, if this don't work, we are fucked. And it did, and there wasn't, so everything worked out. But they stayed away from comic accurate stuff for a long time, long time. And even now they're going, well, that looks way better than it does in the comics, so they change it in the comics.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I don't think they did that with the X-Men though. I don't think they ever had a black leather all black suit. Although they did, they changed Wolverine to make him taller, so he was like Hugh Jackman.
Yeah, but like it was more than just, you know, they had defined personalities or they had specific powers. It was their costume was also a part of that persona.
Yeah, yeah.
So that you need to put them in it, otherwise, what's the point of having a character if you're not going to make them look like?
I don't know though, because people knew who they was. Like nobody watched the X-Men film and went, "Who the fuck's that guy with the claws?" And that guy.
Well, if you didn't know who any of them they were, and they were all wearing exact matching uniforms. Like, if other than Cyclops with the fucking goggles on, if you just stood them in a row, you'd be like, what's her powers? You'd be like, I don't know.
Oh, yeah, but arguably, even if you didn't know who they was, it wouldn't matter what suits they had.
But no, what I mean is if you got like, you know, like Storm with her normal outfit on, where she's got like big flappy arms and that kind of stuff, you'd be like, you know, wind flying maybe, something like that. Like, it kind of makes sense for the powers that they're wearing.
Potentially, I guess. But it's something that always made me laugh. Within, so Wolverine's like yellow and blue spandex outfit, we'll call it. That already had the X-Men symbols on it before he joined the X-Men.
Maybe it was his 10th iteration of building it.
Well, no, because he was in Alpha Flight before he joined the Avengers, and he had it in that. And then,
or maybe it's like, you know, like the Punisher's logo is like a target for his same as the bat X symbol is. Yeah, no, it's like this is like his most armored part of him. So whenever someone's shooting at him, they aim for the X. Yeah, exactly.
I always like that theory that that's why Robin had bright colours. So people didn't shoot at Batman; they shot at Robin.
It's like Batman. I've designed this. Batman's like, I've made you an outfit. It was just like, it looks just like a giant target.
I noticed that.
But with my Special League of Shadows training, it's actually technically it's so disorientating that people won't shoot at you. But like, what about when you're like up on the ceiling and I've got to like fight him? And it's like, yeah, no, but they'll be like, oh no, it's that's not a threat because he's wearing like spandex and green underpants or whatever.
It's the woman thing robbing a bank.
Yeah. They'd be like, oh, that child with his bare fists, he's not going to do anything with me.
And his underpants and
yeah, that 6'4" bloke dressed in black and the hood and the car and the plane and stuff. That's the one I'm more worried about, to be fair.
But even that though, that wasn't. I mean, Keaton's Batman suit was reasonably comic accurate. But they have to make changes to make it work. Like Captain America's made it more military, more combat.
So he could run at 40 miles an hour in it, yeah.
Whereas obviously the comic one was literally just it always looked like spandex, and that's why it always looked fucking stupid. Although when you look at I can't remember the guy who played him. Played him in the really old film. It wasn't Hasselhoff, someone else. There's a really old Captain America film, and he's just got a motorbike helmet.
Oh, yeah, it's just some dude, I don't know.
Yeah, but when you try to make something look like a comic thing and you haven't got the budget, that's the kind of thing you end up with. And that's what I think Fox would have done with the X-Men outfits.
But you couldn't knock it, though. You'd be like, well, it does look... It looks stupid, but it looks exactly like it's supposed to.
I don't know.
I'd rather that they go, it's exactly what we've shot for shot, scene for scene, it's exactly what they've worn. Because then if people go, "Oh, I don't like that," you go, "Well, then you don't like what it's based on."
I mean,
so your problem is it's with the source material, not with what we've done.
No, I disagree there because like things look a lot better in comics than they can do moving around on screens.
In these days, yes, because there's huge amounts of writers and artists that are incredible. But 50 years ago, 60 years ago, when these were made in the first place, they had your primary color wheel. That was it. That's we can print that, and it's any more colors than that, and it gets too expensive. So if you want someone to stand out on a page, they need to be wearing green or brown or blue or something like that. They can't match the background. Like, we've got the same beige for every building. It's in New York City or whatever. So everyone has to stand out from that. But I would rather a ridiculous outfit. Like, Deadpool's outfit is stupid, but it looks pretty much exactly the same. Not from the original sort of like 80s Deadpool, but that is a good
90s
modernization. But it's still stupid and red and big green spots on it. A big black sort of like spots on his face,
But they still made it more combat ready, so he looks like someone that this is where he's got all his weapons and stuff. Whereas in the comics, again, it was just red lycra spandex.
But that's the thing. I think it's just the material that maybe, because like it's like it looks like a sort of like a fiber Kevlar weave kind of thing, so it's a bit more sturdy. But
that's what I mean. They've
if you just change that, or if you just change the tint of it so it was far more red, then it would still look exactly the same.
Yeah,
but
it's a very good translation to, again, same with the Psylocke. Now, I think the Psylocke outfit was a good translation.
But don't forget as well that the majority of the people that are wearing these outfits are inhumanly big, and you can't find someone to wear like the Rock's Black Adam suit it's still quite sort of thick on him, but you know for a fact that if that was skin tight, like painted sort of like lycra skin tight, he would still look that big.
Yeah. Well,
but if you got,
it's also just a black Superman suit. Like, it's not. It's hard to get that wrong, really.
Yeah. No, but I mean, the physique within it works as skin tight as you want to make it. But
he's already Black Adam in physique.
Yeah, if you got Ryan Reynolds, he's still pretty shredded, but he's not. You could see every individual fucking muscle fiber as he moves. Level of shredded.
Yeah.
So it's difficult to get that kind of, like, it's just like it's a painted body basically. It's just body paint, and then you've got absolute perfect freedom of movement in it, and it looks as good as it does on the page. Like, no human is that big.
I mean, it depends what art you're going off, because it's like Rob Layfield's drew it. You have to break everyone's feet, and like no one could play them. But,
no, you just film them all from the knee up. You'll be right.
But I don't know, like, if you look at, like, again, using Deadpool as an example, if you look at some, not necessarily earlier things, there's some later ones, but where they do slim him down a bit more, especially when he's in a room next to... I mean, have you watched Hulk versus Wolverine, the animated film?
No.
It's very good, well worth watching, but Deadpool's in that. But he's closer to, like, Tom Holland Spider-Man in terms of physique. He's obviously ripped, but he's not the big muscly Deadpool that you see in a lot of the other stuff. So best example being the Deadpool game.
Yeah.
Like, in that, he's like a ridiculously fucking beefy fucking guy. And it's, again, I suppose it just depends what you're looking at when you're making these suits and you're making these films. And I'll be honest, there probably is an all-black X-Men team like suit, and it probably wasn't that successful. But I still agree. I think that first film, follow the fashion trends or what's popular, but I think at some point they should have just delved into it and just gone, look, fuck it. I mean, people are going to watch it regardless now. Just make it happen, which is what obviously Marvel did, where they've dragged it out and then they started giving you some. I mean, we got to see Wanda and Vision in the like comic accurate outfits in WandaVision. Obviously, they look ridiculous, and it was Halloween outfits, but that's what they look like. And and again, that's an easy way of doing it. And let's say they've got certain bits, and the first class suits are fine. I don't love them, but they're fine. But again, they just all match. There's nothing different about them. It doesn't, like you say, it doesn't go, that person has got that power and that person's got that power. They've just got all the same suits, except Beast hasn't got any shoes.
Well, like Havoc's got like a chest piece, and Banshee's got like a wingsuit. But I'm pretty sure I think it's at like the end of Apocalypse, maybe, where they all get like very comic accurate kind of, or as close to it as I've probably seen so far. Like, Cyclops has got his like stupid, like strap over thing for some reason.
Because again, his was more like you had it was all combat stuff. So like you had a lot of pouches and you had this bands around the arms and stuff. Whereas in that, it was just basically nearly an X. That's all it was.
Well, it's a bandolier that was got like a strap going on it. But then when fucking what's the last one they did?
Days of Future Past, wasn't it?
No, the last X-Men film they made.
The one before Logan. Apocalypse, Days of Future Past. And then...
No, Days of Future Past was ages ago. Apocalypse was after Days of Future Past.
Was it?
Pretty sure.
No, I'm pretty sure it wasn't. Pretty sure it's the other way around.
Huh.
The last one was the one where they have that big fight on the train.
Yes, and that's the one I can't remember the name of. X-Men Forever?
No, it definitely wasn't X-Men Forever.
X-Men Returns.
Dark Phoenix. And it was after Logan. And
what was it called?
Dark Phoenix, I've just said it.
It was called X-Men Dark Phoenix?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
I'm looking at it right now. X-Men X2,
that's...
X-Men The Last Stand, X-Men Origins Wolverine, X-Men First Class, The Wolverine, Days of Future Past, X-Men Apocalypse, Logan, Dark Phoenix, The New Mutants.
Dark Phoenix? Wow. That's even stupider than any of the stupid ones that I've just said.
Mm-hmm.
Either way, though, I don't remember them having their like newer versions of like more comic accurate suits in that. They were just in normal clothes because they like the man should have been fucking blown up, hadn't it?
Well, they have the suits on. So like at the beginning bit where they're at the house and you got Mystique with the police and stuff. But all of the suits are the same, where it's just dark.
Oh yeah, you're right. They are just like blue and yellow.
And then they've just got a yellow X on the chest, but they're all exactly the same suits.
Yeah, I can't remember if there was much. Again, it's only a couple of times I've watched that film, but I don't remember much differentiation in them.
It also didn't make sense that they did Dark Phoenix because that's what they did in The Last Stand, and it's only like 3 years, something like that.
Yeah,
for it to go from the girl from Game of Thrones to Famke Janssen. So
yeah,
good old Fox's timeline. Shit films.
Well, speaking of, I asked you to watch a specific film to discuss on this podcast. Did you watch it?
Most of the way through. I am at the bit. So this movie in question is Space Jam. A new fucking legacy or some bullshit. But I am at the bit where Sylvester's... They're in the changing room. They're being beaten like 1,000 to fucking nothing. And Sylvester brings in Michael Jordan. But it's not Michael Jordan. It's Michael B. Jordan. And that's where I've turned it off. And I haven't laughed once yet.
Really?
I haven't laughed a single time.
That was the one that got me when it was a foot, and I was just sort of like, because I was genuinely watching it, I was just like, I wonder if they because Bugs sort of like alludes that this sounds familiar, doesn't it? And I was like, so are they saying that the other one didn't happen? And then it's the same uniforms, and then like they're talking about blah blah blah, and it's like, oh, Michael Jordan. I was like, oh no, wait, maybe they just got him in to just do a cameo, and then it's like, and it's Michael B. Jordan. I was like, that's pretty funny.
Are you joking? I had to go and pick Logan up from school. No, sure, I turned it off, and I just haven't put it back on since I got home. But I went to put my shoes on. I sat on the stairs, and in my head I went, I better not be one of the 3 moments Dan's talking about.
Oh, it 100% is, yeah.
I haven't laughed this. I haven't even just gone, nothing. I've just sat there scowling at the TV.
Well, there's it got to a point where the basketball match started, because I'm pretty sure, again, it's been a long time since I've seen the first Space Jam anyway, but I'm pretty sure that's the last sort of like 15, 20 minutes of it or something like that is like the actual basketball match. Like everything else is just sort of like collecting the team and doing the stuff or whatever.
Up to now, with the exception
I
of
could be wrong.
It changing from like LeBron James, who may I just say seems to be an awful parent, but
also I do not buy his relationship with his children or his wife.
I mean, he's not an actor
at all, and I don't know. But that's the thing. I don't blame him for that at all. But I'm just sort of like, I don't care about your kids. Your kid's made a game that's incredible. No, he hasn't. No 12-year-old is kicking a game like that out. You fucking maniac. I tell you what, though, the absolute saving grace of that whole film.
You say Don Cheadle.
It's Don Cheadle. Like
I hate him.
He's eating so much scenery. Like it's so good. Where he's just ranted. Like clearly just a big green space, and he's just screaming and shouting. He's putting way more effort in than that film deserves.
I prefer the little fucking.
Oh, I hate that. Like a Minions sort of like it's just a thing, just making random noises. Oh, it's funny, isn't it?
That to Don Cheadle's character.
No, absolutely not.
Like,
You're wrong.
I hate all of it. So I'm the one that's in the right here. But I watched it because you've made me. You watched it off your own back.
I did. It's mainly because I wanted to see. I watched The Matrix Resurrections again the other day. Much better on a rewatch. That I should have said you should have watched that instead. But there was it was the way it goes like the wow, whoa, and it's like the Warner Brothers logos kind of coming in. I was just like, Warner Brothers, yeah, like fucking Space Jam. I'm sure that was a Warner Brothers thing because there was like a million billion Warner Brothers characters in it or whatever. And then when I was watching Space Jam Legacy, and I was just like, oh, okay, I'm gonna just I can't really pay attention to much of what the hell's going on because it's another silly children's film. But I'll see if I can, for my own amusement, I'll see if I can pick out how many sort of like other characters or films or whatever are in there. And what I didn't realise is that all of the people that they were doing like all the sideline stuff with, I thought, stupidly so probably, that when they'd got like, it was Batman and it was the Joker and it was whatever, it was just like a CG copy of whatever it is. No, it's not. It's just a bunch of randos in fucking cosplay. And they all look terrible. I can just about pick out as like, I think you're supposed to be that person or whatever. But other than like,
when when they're still like in the animation side of it and the charging in, so you see like your Gremlins and you see the Iron Giant. And
yeah, the Gremlins look great. Yeah.
Looks very good. But not the rest.
All the people, but it's just like, it's all the like the that was the other bit. I'll tell you the bits that did actually make me laugh. When Michael B. Jordan came in, I thought that was a good joke. That was all right because it was just it was a good bait and switch that I fell for hook, line and sinker. Because I assumed that they'd just drag him in for 20 minutes and just sort of go, "Hey, good luck out there, everyone," and then he'd just fuck off and they'd pay him $1 million or whatever. But that bait and switch, I thought that was really funny. When he first goes into the Toonverse. And he falls through the sky and he slams into the floor, and it's the thing is a big the hole that he leaves is a big Nike logo because like that's all he is. He's like a symbol for Nike, and I was just like, oh, that's quite funny. But yeah, the hair switch around thing, that was all right. And then the other bit was when like they were sort of like he was going like, oh, the Matrix, oh the fucking like, oh, did the granny do the Matrix? Oh god, it makes me feel sick. But, they're doing the Harry Potter thing. But then they just go put a funny outfit on him. Oh, he's Harry Potter. They don't bring Harry Potter in. You just have to fight Voldemort in a basketball match or something like that. It's just passing references that's just fucking awful. And it came completely out of the blue, and it proper made me laugh. Was when, he was going through the Matrix, and they did the Harry Potter thing, and then they did the Game of Thrones, popular. And then, just like that, it just cuts to Mad Max Fury Road. And I was like, what? And I totally forgot that that's a Warner Brothers thing. And it's just like the Roadrunner and Wile E. Coyote, and he's like one of the war boys. And like he's like, witness me with the sign. And I was like, that's incredible. Like, I loved that. They just took shot for shot from the film. Like, they just took the film and just put them in it. I loved it. Brilliant.
To be honest, I mean, that ruined it because I already knew that was in it. But
oh, really?
I wasn't surprised by that at all. But
Oh, no way.
The only one that, again, it didn't take me from. I knew they was in it, so I wasn't surprised, but I didn't know the what was happening. But when Rick and Morty dropped Taz off,
Oh yeah,
it was too much hassle, and
yeah.
like, I think I would have laughed if I was in a better mood. But when they get to Gotham, and he's Robin, and he's just like, "Why am I Robin?" And it's like, yeah, because that's the funnier of the two. But Daffy Duck's pretending to be Superman, but he's not. He's setting this all up to look like a hero in typical Daffy fashion, which all it made me think of from that moment up until where I've paused it. Also, I nearly didn't watch it, so I went on. I forgot what I put on. I went, oh, best fucking watch stupid Space Jam, and I went on Amazon Prime, and it was like $3.49 to rent or buy. I was like, I can fuck, I ain't paying for it. Sorry, Dan. And then I was on Netflix.
That's where I was watching it on. Yeah.
I went to look at something else, and what was I looking for? I can't even remember what it was. And I best fucking look on it. And I literally put SP, and it was like the fourth thing. I was like, motherfucker.
But, I wouldn't expect you to pay to rent it, no. So,
no. But what was I going to say? Superman. What it made me think of is there is a TV show that you can watch, Dan. It's available. And it's basically a sitcom, but like Bugs and Daffy live together. And it's one of the funniest shows I've ever watched. It's so fucking funny. It's really, really, really good. Like Porky Pig's got his own like catering business and stuff, and like Daffy's just like offloading off Bugs' success and that. It's really fucking funny. Taz is just their pet. He sleeps in the garden. He's got a dog house and stuff. Honestly, it's very funny, but it's not.
What's it called?
If I remember rightly, it's just called like the Looney Tunes Show.
Right.
I'll find it. And I'll send you which one it is. Like me and Zoe loved it. It's not on any. It's like it's finished now, but it's not your typical Looney Tunes thing. So it's not like just kind of like sketches and stuff. It's just an actual show with a theme and a story, and Daffy's got to get a job and this, that, and the other. So it's really good. It's very funny. Some really funny bits in it.
Yeah, I'll have to check this out, yeah.
It's only like probably about 8 years old now, but it's like 2 or 3 seasons. It's good. It's very good.
Yeah.
But that's all I thought of for the rest of the film watching that, man. I wish it was as good as the Looney Tunes show or whatever it's called.
Yeah, it's probably best not to go in with any level of expectation on this at all.
Oh, I said, we was talking about this on Saturday, I think it was. And I was saying, like, I genuinely loved Space Jam, the first film, but I know it's a bad film. And I watched it not too long ago, and it's not aged well at all. And you said, this one at least looks good. I disagree. having watched most of it.
I think, like, the... like all this sort of like him interacting with like animated characters and stuff like that. I think all of that works quite well. It's not like obvious green screens everywhere.
I think they look good CGI'd up. You know when the Don Cheadle comes in and they're like in all like 3D.
Yeah.
All like now they're real. But
see, that's the, I thought that was the I hated it when they got like, so you know, like in Chip and Dale when like Chip gets like his 3D surgery. He looks great as a 3D model, but all of these when they just other than Gossamer, who looks kind of great as like a big 3D monster, but all the others I'm just sort of like you just kind of look like gross.
They look fine, but it's pointless. So like when the thing with the original Space Jam, the way Michael Jordan makes that where his arm stretches out and stuff is because he's in like Toonville. So
he's accepting his toonness or whatever,
But once you make them real, which is what, because they're not like 3D models now, they're real. This is what they are in the real world. They don't have any of the powers and stuff.
Well, no, they don't have their wacky power. Well, they it kind of comes to that where they sort of do more sort of cartoony things. Right. But, you know, you want to do a big jump, well, you get a power up to do a big jump. So I get it if...
like the game.
Yeah, so I get it if he wanted to do any loony jumps or flips or whatever, he would have to use the power-ups in the game, whereas they could just go, well, fuck it, I could just make my arm big, because I'm a Looney Tune, you know, I'll just fucking do that. So it sort of restricts their own kookiness, which is a bit odd. Yeah, but then it's like...
differentiating from the first one, to be fair.
Maybe so.
The exception of modernising it and making it about obviously the kids in it. Obviously, Michael Jordan's kids wasn't in the other one, but up to now, it's the same film.
It is. It's just like it's a dad who's not a great dad. It's all about basketball, and then they've just zoomed in on the whole. He's a kid, so he must like games. So yeah, he's just made this game. Now he's going to play it in the game. Yeah. But also, I don't understand as well because like Don Cheadle wants to win this basketball game to keep everybody.
It keeps everyone there.
Yeah. Also, every phone's got a scanner that can take you into the. Yeah, of course it can. Yeah. But he upgrades his basketball team with like spider powers or whatever, and like this one's a snake and this one's a water blob or whatever. Why would he upgrade the other team? I mean, one, he doesn't upgrade them in the sense of it gives them any benefit other than it changes how they look, and two, he upgraded his team before the match, so he didn't like do it mid-match. Like they came into the thing saying like this is the player that, as they are. So why would you then go, oh, I'll give myself an advantage by making that woman a spider as well. I'll also make you all 3D. But again, it doesn't make like the Chip and Dale 3D-ifying thing. It makes sense within the story because they said, oh, it's a cosmetic surgery to make himself, more appealing and attractive or whatever. So now he's gone 3D and he's like cool in 3D. Whereas this, they've just gone, and you're 3D now. Yeah. But for like 20 minutes. And then also that basketball match starts at about the fucking halfway point in that movie. It goes on way too long.
How much have I got left?
Way more than you think you have. And, one, you know how it ends, because a film like this, of course it's going to end in the way that you think it's going to end.
They all die,
and that would be a hell of a twist if it was just like, and then they lose.
The Iron Giant just runs through and tramples everyone.
Yeah, I like the sort of like, oh, you're in a basketball court that's in a box. So why did people need to be there? Whatever, I don't care. I'm not analysing it. But yeah, it's also like whenever there's like it's looking at like the people on the side court. It's clearly just a bunch of extras in a room, just sort of going, "Yay, LeBron! Yeah, go on, mate." No, I never claimed that it was good. I just said that you had to watch it. Because if I'm watching it, you're watching it.
I had pointed out that you said I've got to watch Space Jam, which I stuck to when I tried. I haven't finished it. Apparently, I've got way more than I thought I had left. But
maybe that's because that was like the halfway point or whatever that he comes in. So maybe it's like 10, 15, 20 minutes.
The game
left,
has started because they're getting trounced, but it hasn't. It's not like properly what's it. But
yeah.
I got instructed. I had to watch Space Jam: A New Legacy, the Walmart sequel to the original Space Jam, by the feel of it. Whilst I told you had to watch Invincible, which is miles better.
Yeah, and I also said that I didn't just want to watch one and then be infuriated that I couldn't then watch the next one immediately.
No, you do need to watch. I think it's better off watching them together. I'm not. I'm going to watch them weekly, but I think you'll get more out of it. Mainly because you forget. It's been so long, you kind of forget.
I do want to rewatch the first season, to be fair. I keep getting clips because I think like Amazon's clocked that I'm into the sort of like The Boys and Invincible or whatever, because it keeps coming up on YouTube. Like, here's a clip from The Boys, here's a clip from Invincible or whatever, and I'm like, well, if I click on this, you're just going to keep on doing it. But I want to watch that.
I also want to watch it.
Yeah, so I'm going to watch it anyway. So well done, Amazon, you win.
Also, we're not going to touch in because we are going to wrap this up. But Gen V, it's all finished and wrapped up.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, so you can finish that now.
Good. Oh, love a bit of Gen V. I'm going to finish that off then.
Yeah,
yep.
Excellent end to the season. I do hope there's another one. And before we started this, I don't know what it was because I swiped it away because it popped up on my watch, and instead of pressing it to open it on my phone, I swiped it away. But there's some news regarding The Boys. I assume season 4.
Okay.
But I don't know what it is. So I'm going to
have a look. So that could be an announcement. It could be like a date, like a release date thing. But
it could even just be The Boys character Homelander appears in Mortal Kombat. Could be anything. Could be anything.
Could be. Yeah.
But we're going to leave it there. And if you want to see some other things, including more podcasts, more Let's Plays, reviews, everything else that we've done, it's all on the website, podcastversusplay.com. And it's all going along the bottom of the screen. I pointed up, Dan. might move it. I'll put it up here this time.
No, don't. Because you'll forget for a start.
I definitely will. But now I'm going to go, and I suppose I'll go finish Space Jam while I think about it and never talk about it ever again.
That's fine. I'd like to say that I've got another recommendation that you need to watch for the following week, but I don't. I'd suggest, though...
I guarantee what you're going to say. I'm going to watch Resurrections for the... No Resurrections. It is Resurrection, isn't it?
The
Matrix.
latest one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was.
No, I wasn't going to say that. No. I was going to say watch RoboCop. Because I watched RoboCop again the other day. Because obviously I'm playing a lot of RoboCop Rogue City, which is... It's basic in the sense of it's just a first-person shooter. But my God, they managed to just hone in on just like, this feels very RoboCop. Just clunk, clunk. A gun that would just blow people across the room. Everything's exploding. All the environments are all destroyed. If you've never been really into RoboCop, I doubt there's very much in it for you. But if you're super into it, because like the gun just sounds right and the music's like proper silly 80s stuff, and it's all, everyone's a maniac and there's 400 people robbing a bank rather than 6 or whatever.
Can I do a VR version?
I hope not.
I think it'd be quite good.
I don't know, because like there's a lot of abilities that you have as well.
Oh no!
Like not like you can jump a building or whatever, but it's like it's things that
like
make it.
Suit. Like Mario.
No. But like one of the main things is that your gun, like you can change almost like kind of like Judge Dredd in that sort of like lawgiver sense. Not that the gun can do like 500 things, but you can like tweak certain elements of it. So it can instead of just like it can go full auto, or you can like switch it to single fire, which does like it's a much more powerful shot. It reduces spread, increase the damage. Like there's these circuit things that you find, and you can kind of like tweak and make your gun. So if you like having like, because there's infinite ammo in it, there's one that you can find that just doesn't need a reload, so you can just keep on firing just forever.
That sounds a bit cheaty.
It kind of does a little bit. I prefer this one as well. It's a testament of a game that just knows its source material and its audience very well. There's one, so like you've got to unlock you get like a circuit board, so you like you put like modifiers within the circuit board, so like, this one's for reload, so I can put this, it'll increase reload speed by 10%, and then that activates the pins next to it maybe, and like one of them could be like it's a sort of like a mini game kind of element to it as well. So you're not forced, but you want to collect more of these things because you've got more options. So like jigsaw puzzle pieces almost. Yeah. So like you put in a thing, then it's got like 2 lines that come from it. Like this one goes over to here, which like you can then add a module in to like increase your damage. But unless you use one that comes from the power supply, like from the left purely to the right, up here there's a negative 20% across the board. So like there's like weapon spread, weapon damage, recoil, that kind of stuff. So if you're using the wrong piece, you can still get your 10% reload speed, but you'll take 20% off everything across the board. So you want to get different pieces to like just get the good stuff and cut out all the bad stuff. But one of the things that you can unlock, which is like there's like an ultra one within it, which will be like no reload. Like armor piercing, like you can go through multiple people, like one shot can go through multiple people. One of them is like extra gore. So when you shoot someone, they go and just explode into a billion pieces or whatever. And I'm just sort of like, what a thing. Because like it adds nothing to the game other than it just makes it silly RoboCop violent.
Which it should be.
And it's so good. And like there's some, I won't tell you because I know you're probably going to get it at some point. But there are certain bits in it, because like again, it's not just all just going into a corner shop and there's like someone robbing a thing and you stop them or whatever. It's like big set piece things, and there's a few of them like when you're going in with like multiple people at the same time, and it just there's just something about it that just feels so good. Like because it does it in a way that it's like this big action set piece, but it sets you as like an evaluation thing as well. So who's going to do better, you or the police, or you, or OCP, or whatever, and you've got to go in and you're like trying to kill people as fast as you possibly can to try and beat them, and like they're all teasing you and stuff like that at the same time. Oh, mate, I tell you what, I'm currently It doesn't feel like I'm at the end yet, but I've only played 7 hours of it. But it very much feels like there'd be a New Game Plus mode. I don't know if it's in it or will be added to it.
Do you think New Game Plus will be new RoboCop?
No, there's only one skin so far, which is blue RoboCop from RoboCop 2.
Oh no, I meant what?
It's a blue tint, and there's like a couple of extra guns that you can get. There's a ton of guns as well. You just pick them up off just people and just start using them. And no, I won't tell you that because it's a sick fucking add-on that you get to it. But like, because there's so much sort of like points that you can put into like upgrading things. It doesn't feel like unless this is like a 20-hour playthrough. I don't know to unlock them all, but it feels like you get as far as you can, and then you'd New Game Plus it and bump up the difficulty. And then you'd have much better abilities and stuff like that to start the game with and have more of a challenge.
I can't imagine it's going to be that. No more than 16 hours.
I don't think so.
Probably 12, maybe.
Well, it feels that I'm at the right kind of... Oh, Rick, friend of the show, is currently playing RoboCop Rogue City. He talked me into it the day he got it because he found it on CD Keys, affiliate of the show. Hello, guys. For like 23 quid. And... for that price, mate, for how much fun I'm having, maybe I've got another 3 hours worth of content that I can get before I have to do a replay.
Yeah.
It's worth it so far. Like, it's just... They only got Peter Weller back for the voice, unfortunately, as far as I can tell. But they got everyone's likeness, at least, so everything looks the same. The police station feels like it... There's certain things that look... So, like, the server room... Again, the only reason I know this is because I watched RoboCop the other day as well. But there's, like, a bit where he goes to, like, the computer to, like, find... like the accomplices for like Alex Murphy's murder, and this server room is massive and like long, and he's got to like sort of walk down it and then go around a bit, and then in the game there's like 2 servers and like servers around the wall, and that's about it. Yeah. So it's like, okay, well because it's not set like during RoboCop 1, I think it's like after RoboCop 1 and 2. You could go, or maybe they didn't need a server room that was that big, so they just made it smaller because the servers are better.
Potentially.
Maybe. But either way, it's a fucking grand old time. And I think if you play it, you'd absolutely fucking love it.
I did install the demo on Steam, and I never got round to play
Idiot.
it. Might still let me, I don't know. But
no, because when I, after it's like period of run out, it came up with like pre-install or pre-purchase or something like that instead of like the play option.
Is that play time though? So you only get...
Don't think so, because I got like an hour and a half out of it, so it wasn't like a 1 hour deadline and then that was it. It was, I managed to complete it and then I'd started it back up again. And annoyingly, because I don't know if there's anything extra at the start now, because when I went in, it just let me continue from my save.
It was, yeah. A lot of demos do that these days, though. With Final Fantasy.
Oh, right, okay, yeah. But it was like the full game that must have installed then, I guess.
RoboCop. Yeah, it's changed to purchase now.
Yeah.
So I'll uninstall that because I don't have it and I haven't started it, so I'm not losing anything. But we'll leave it there, sunshine.
Yes.
It's all going along the bottom of the screen again, but you can go check out all the other things that we've done, and we'll have some more things coming up. Dan, see you on the next one. Thank you for joining. And thank you for joining as well.
Oh, you're welcome.
Bye.